assessment environment. Then we have the resources for that particular unit of competency, the tools and equipments, materials and supplies, training resources, and so on. All that is provided under assessment requirements document. Then we have the standards. They are very key, especially when you are dealing with all these technical units. They talk about the aspect of safety and other regulations. They are supposed to be listed there. Then we have the simulated environment also, whether that particular unit of competency is supposed to be assessed in a simulated environment or in the workplace. Then we have the assessor's conditions. For a person to be an assessor in this particular unit of competency, they must exhibit all these requirements, must be a licensed trainer, must be registered by TVET CDAC. This is for TVET CDAC affiliated assessments. And then for external assessors or verifiers, they must be also registered by TVET CDAC and so on. So that is duplicated for all the units of competency under that. And as we have said, you don't have to prepare that. Is already done for you. You just interpret as an expert in that particular unit of competency. Then I'm not sure whether it is good to do the assessment plan now, but we'll go through it. An assessment plan is a document that is developed by an assessor that includes the following. It has the elements and the units of competency to be assessed. Basically, you just copy the elements and the units of competency. In some instances, especially when you are talking about Cycle 1 and Cycle 2 curriculums and OS, you discover that there were some units of competency that were supposed to be covered probably in three terms. So because an assessment plan is for a particular term, unaweka zile elements and performance criteria that are supposed to be covered in that specific term, or you can decide to do for the entire unit of competency, even though it is supposed to be covered in like 2 or 3 terms, then it's okay. It's okay, but you will need in wakikuja the next term, maybe probably it's not you will be training them. You will need now also to agree with the learners on the modalities of assessment for that particular term. Then you are supposed to show when the assessment will occur, the specific date and time. So if it is on week 5, on Tuesday, 23rd, between 8 and 9. If it is for the continuous assessment or any other time. And you must agree. Definitely, when you're dealing with learners, they tend to frustrate that effort of assessment. So it is also good to be reminded that this particular document is supposed to be prepared in adherence to the academic policy in regards to the policy of that institution. So if the policy says that a formative assessment 1 is supposed to be conducted by week 1, then the student has no other choice other than to agree on that week 1, which is the specific day that they are going to do that assessment. Otherwise, they might tell you they are not yet ready even up to week 5, even up to the end of the term. So that is guided by the academic policy. How the assessment will occur, will you test the aspect of knowledge, the aspect of performance, or a combination of both? Then the assessment methods to be used depending on what you are testing. If you are testing on theory, you're going to administer oral questioning, you're going to administer written tests, and so on. If you are testing on performance, are you going to involve practical tests? Are you going to involve uh, uh, what we call projects, and so on? Then the criteria for the assessment decision. At the end of the day, for you to declare this person as competent, what is the criteria that you're going to use? In normal instances, we normally tell, like what happens at Kenya School of TVET, we normally tell our learners that for you to be declared competent, let me call it pass in this particular unit of competency, you must have at least 40% of this. Now, when it comes to more CBET units, then that judgment may change a little bit, especially when you are dealing with aspects of competency, because you look at so many aspects. A candidate might have, let's say the pass mark is 50%, but has failed on the critical aspects of competency. So, for example, a candidate may have is in food and beverage, amepika vizuri, but that candidate is not observing aspects of safety, which is very key in any practical activity. So, doesn't matter whether maybe one of the conditions can be you must perform at least 50% of the test items. For example, if it is a practical, then you go ahead and include another criteria, then say, and must pass in all the critical aspects for that particular unit of competency, so that you don't release somebody who is doing very well in some aspects, and the most critical aspects that person is not able to observe. So that is the assessment decision. So a candidate should be able to know all the requirements of that particular unit of competency, all the methods of assessment. How am I going to be assessed? What are some of the tasks, the elements, the performance levels that I'm going to be subjected to in advance, even before they are trained on that particular unit of competency? This will be the judgment criteria, and this is how the assessor will arrive at the judgment decision. And they must agree to that or that path of assessment and sign against that particular document. So if you look at a template for that assessment plan and see some of the components for that plan, let me check from my documents. So if you look at assessment plan, so this is the template. Definitely, it starts with the qualification. The qualification is like electrical wireman level 3 and so on. Then it has all these guidelines on how to populate this assessment plan. Then we have the administrative details, the assessor, the candidate's name, registration number, phone numbers, all that, the assessor's name and all that. Then the purpose of assessment, because you must let the learner know the purpose of that particular assessment. So this assessment is meant to determine whether the candidate is competent in, then you quote the unit of competency for that particular assessment. If it is a unit of competency like what we have seen here, which one? Is prepare bread, then that is what you write under that assessment plan. The as the purpose of the assessment. Then you just copy paste the elements and the various performance criteria for that particular unit of competency. Then we have the assessment condition. The assessment is to be conducted in probably the workplace, in a simulated environment, within a school setup, in the workshop, and all that. So you quote the assessment context or environment. Then assessment instruction to the candidate. During the assessment, you'll be required to demonstrate competency in this unit of competency. You repeat the unit of competency under that. You will also answer some if there is a theoretical assessment. Then you must state in this assessment plan. And then the tasks, this majorly focuses on performance. You list all the tasks that are supposed to be done by this particular, for this particular assessment. Then you list all of them. Then under methods of assessment, you just tick the methods that you are going to use. If they are not there, if it is not among these that are written here, you can also add some of the methods that you have as others. So if you are going to use portfolio of evidence, you just tick. If you are not going to use, you just let it remain like that, or you put a dash. Any supplementary evidence that will be required by the end of that assessment process, you can include if there will be any. If not, you just ignore. The resources required, you list all the resources required for that particular assessment. Any supplementary evidence, you might agree with the candidates or the learners. Any allowable adjustments on the aspects of flexibility, maybe because of time, maybe because of the diverseness of your learners, you can accommodate some allowable adjustments or aspects of flexibility in your assessment. Then you can see there is the date of assessment. Assessment will take place at a mutually agreed time between the candidate and the assessor. So you quote the feature date and time, and you sign. There is an assessor signature and the time that you have agreed, you have done that mutual agreement with the candidate. Then before the candidates sign, it is good to take them through the assessment or the appeal procedure to let the candidate know that the decision that they are going to get may not be the final decision if they feel that the assessor was not fair to them and they have enough evidence to that, they can appeal that decision. And you take them through the appeal process. And after they are satisfied, then the candidate signs and includes the candidates, the date that they have signed. So this is basically one of the examples. I'll be sharing some of these templates to your WhatsApp group so that you can look at them for as we move along. So that is on the assessment plan. After that, there is the performance criteria weighting tool. And as I have said before, for those we have met, the PC weighting tool is a very critical document that gives weights to the different that gives weight to the different items of assessment, to the different elements and its respective performance criteria. So it guides in the development of the assessment tools. When you have the different weights, you can be able to develop any assessment tool, be it whether it's a theory or be it whether it is a practical assessment tool. So in order to develop this PC weighting tool, as I informed you earlier, the PC weighting tool is already developed for you by the curriculum developers or whoever was developing the OS and the curriculums for that particular unit of or for that particular qualification. So you don't need to crack your mind at this stage to know how to develop this PC weighting tool. However, if you need to know the details of how to come up with this tool and do it practically, there is a different course for that that is offered as a CPD course at Kenya School of TVET. So in order to do that, we just go through the theoretical aspect of coming up with that document or that tool. There are some factors that we consider. And these factors are considered per element and per performance criteria. So the first aspect we consider is on the knowledge level. Under Bloom's taxonomy, if you look at that performance criteria under that particular element, where does it lie? So we have a rating scale. If it lies on the lower level, there's a rating scale for that. If it lies on a higher level, there is a rating scale for that. Then after that, under the same PC, you look at the task difficulty. Is it a complex task? Is it a routine task? Is it a simple task? So based on the complexity of that task, as an expert, you can be able to know that this particular task under this particular element is simple, is complex, and so on. And there is a rating scale also for that. For a simple task, this is how you are supposed to rate it. For a complex task, and so on. Then the creativity required for you to achieve or to complete that task. Is there any innovation required for that task? Is it something that is obvious? That doesn't require any form of creativity. So depending on that, you are able to rate on that particular PC. Then we have criticality of performance, as if I take you back to our OS, if you look at the evidence guide, we have critical aspects of competency. So these, you'll see, these are PCs under that particular unit of competencies that are critical. So if that PC appears under critical aspect of competency, then that means it is critical. Then you ask yourself, if it is not critical, definitely I know the rating is a 0, so you give a 0. But if it appears under critical aspects of competency, then there is a rating for that, depending on criticality of that particular PC. So that is done cumulatively for all the PCs in that particular element, for all the elements. And at the end of the day, you add all these items because they have now numbers. So if this one was a 1, this one was a 2, this one was a 1, this one was a 2, you add all that. Then the last two columns are the distribution of what you have summed up for that particular PC. You distribute between theory and practical. And to do that, we have this table that helps us to distribute per level. So if we are talking about level 6, and based on this summation of the different ratings of the different items as per these factors, umepata ni, let's say, is 20, and this is level 6. So you get 40% of 20, which cumulates to the weight for that PC for theory. Then you calculate the weight for that PC for practical. So if it was, the total weight was 20, you equate that to 100%, worth about 60%. That will give you the weight for that particular PC for practical. So don't worry so much about the mathematical conversion and the rating, because that is already done for you, and that is why we have PC weighting tools for each and every qualification or each and every occupation. So if I look at a sample from the modularized curriculum, if I pick like cosmetology level 4, and I look at the PC weighting tool, I can be able to, this is the mentoring tool. I want the PC weighting tool. Yeah, this is the PC weighting tool. So I can be able, we have the final product, which is here. So for each element, you can see there is the weight of PC for theory and practical based on this ratio, that is 10 to 90. And for each PC, we have the weight for each PC. For example, for PC 1.1 under element 1 is 1. But for practical is 12 and all that. So all this is done for you, and we have the subtotal for each element and subtotal for each element. Then cumulatively, we have the grand total for all the elements and performance criteria. And they must adhere to this ratio because this is level 3, which is module 1. Level 3, that is 10% is supposed to be theory and 90% is supposed to be practical. So any question up to that point? Any question? Any question? Yes, Mary Naswa.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I wanted to ask if that work will be submitted in a hard copy or soft copy.
I'm coming to that. I'll give directions on that.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you, sir. And
I'll give directions on that.
then some of us have not managed to enter. Will they have a hard copy?
To
Something to those who have not, yes.
I think I forgot to record.
Not
That is why
managed
I'm
to
starting.
be atonement.
I forgot to record. That is why I'm doing the recording. I've started the recording now. Maybe with the time I'll be able to record. I think I forgot, but I'll share the recorded clip. I started just now, as you have seen. Maybe I'll capture some of the aspects that I'm going to discuss after now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Jackson?
Good evening, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
It is me speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Given so I just say thank you, sir. Even and good evening. All is a relationship between cutting the C weighting tool.
Mm-hmm. Unapotea potea. I have heard about the cutting list.
We can't hear him.
And the PC weighting tool. So
Yes.
The PC weighting tool is, as I have said, is the first documents or the first document apart from the OS and the curriculum, OS and the assessment requirement tool that give weights to the different pieces. So with the weights, now you can convert the weights to marks based on the practical assessment that you want to conduct. Then depending on your practical
Mwalimu, unapotea
assessment,
potea, tukupate vizuri.
I hope the rest wananisikia because hata wewe ulikuwa unapotea potea. Am I clear?
The rest, you're not clear, teacher.
Yes,
I hear
yes,
well.
you're audible, you're clear.
No.
You're
So
clear.
it depends. I think is a matter of challenges with the network, but I hope I'll be. I am audible. Yes, sorry.
You are very audible, but other places you are not audible.
Okay. I'll try. Maybe is a challenge to do with the network, but I hope I'll be audible. So as I was saying, now the cutting list comes from the practical tasks that an assessment is supposed to cover. So if you want your candidates to cover a given or given tasks or a given task, basically is normally a task, and a task has several items. Maybe it's checking on safety, it's checking on the ability of the learner to perform a particular activity. Maybe ni kupika. So you are testing kama huyo mwanafunzi anapika kitu fulani, you have a menu and you have all that up to the end, up to the product. It is testing on the process and the product, for example. Then from that, you sit down, ujiulize, for this particular candidate to come up with, to be able to do this effectively, ana require nini? Then you list all the ingredients, you list all the tools, you list all the equipments that are required for that particular candidate to be able to achieve that task. So all these tools, equipments, or materials required for that task are what we are included in the cutting list. Tuko pamoja? Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sawa. Any other concern? Margaret Irongo.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
So my question is in regard to PC weighting.
Mm-hmm.
When you're setting a cut, for example, in level 3 and 4, the theory part has 10 and the practical has 90. Can someone set the theory bit out of perhaps 30 and then convert to 10?
Yes, that is acceptable because si lazima ati uset cut because imesema ni 10 na ingine ni 90, as long as at the end of the day you reconvert it back to 10% in the final grading, then that is okay. Like the way if somebody has ever assessed, I think CDAC is doing the same. I also know NITA does the same. There is that formula for conversion back to the required percentages. If it is theory, doesn't mean that itakuwa 10 marks. It can be 40 marks, it can be 45, it can be 55. But at the end of the day, there is that conversion formula back to 10%, and there is also another conversion formula back to 90%, especially if it is for a practical. But doesn't necessarily mean that the theory will cover these 10 marks and practical 90 marks. Okay, thank you. We can continue now. Then we have seen our table of, we have seen our PC weighting tool. And for cosmetology, like we have seen, this is the PC weighting tool for example, cosmetology, for provide plating and braiding services. So these are not marks, they are actually weights. And the weight is to give some form of ranking to that particular PC or that particular element to enable conversion to marks through some other means, and making sure you don't just approximate or give marks out of guesswork or out of approximation. So how do we convert these weights now to marks? And to help us do that, we introduce, especially for the theoretical aspect, we introduce the table of specification, even for CBET assessments. So I'll just do a brief analysis of element 1 based on this. So let's assume we want to add test, or basically we have taught unit 1 up to maybe week 4. And in week 5, we are supposed to set let me call it a continuous assessment test for theory in week 5. Your week 5 may cover only the first element, that is element 1. And the continuous assessment test that I'm supposed to test inafaa kuwa 50 marks. We are doing an assumption. So how do I convert these weights to marks? And wacha niweke side by side. I hope we'll be able to see that particular analysis. So my interest is on these weights. So I can create a table. I can create a table, niseme the weights, then the marks. So we have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 PCs. So I can call them PC1 up to PC, for example, 8. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think is up to 7, up to 6. Sorry. So this is performance criteria. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. Can you be able to see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
Yes, you can see.
So for these PCs, we have weights.
I cannot.
We have weights. Na mwenye anasema haoni. So I'm just
Yes,
copying
mimi
the.
sioni.
Refresh.
You refresh your
Ama uchange view. Teacher, we can't hear you. Ama nyinyi mnapata mwalimu?
The
Hey
teacher
guys.
can't hear him. Hapatikani.
Ni kama amenyamaza.
Amelost.
Hata labda amedismiss.
Mwalimu anarudi, ngoje.
Ama ikuwe good night.
Ngoje kidogo.
Ni mimi peke yangu sisikii mwalimu ama?
Tuko wengi.
So I am back.
So, welcome.
Hata nyinyi wenyewe hamsikiki.
I am back and stima imepotea. I hope haitapotea tena. So we can see what I'm displaying now.
Yes, sir.
We can see.
Yes.
Yes, we can see mwalimu.
Stima ya hapa Bungoma inashinda
Yes.
ikipotea. So
Hata hapa inapotea.
if we talk about the total, so I've just copied. These are the pieces. Sijazi copied the way they are, but this is the column for the pieces, and this is the other column is for the weights. So and I want my theory paper or theory cut to be 50 marks. To be 50 marks. So how am I going to do it? Then nitatumia mathematics. So nikuje niseme this is what I am going to test. These are all the pieces that I'm going to test. And these are the weights for this PC. So nakuja nazi add 1 plus 1 plus 1, that is 3, plus 2, that is 5, plus 1, 6, plus 1, 7. So the total weights of all my PCs that I'm going to assess for that continuous assessment test is 7. Tuko pamoja hadi hapo?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Hiyo.
So
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are together.
7. Is 7. So what about if for PC1, how many marks will I give? So nakuja nasema 7, hii ni mathematics. 7 is equals to 50 marks. What about 1? So itakuwa 1
times 50 over 7.
divided by 7, then times 50.
50.
Itakuwa ngapi?
7.
Yeah.
7.1.
So 1 divided by 7 times 50. 7.1. So under marks, because we know there is no question that will give 0 point something marks, we approximate that to the nearest, if possible, even number. So the nearest
becomes
even
8.
number, it can be, we can assume it is 8. So tuko na hiyo. Hiyo ingine pia ni 8. 1 zote ziko na 8. depending on that formula. Sindio?
Yeah.
Then
Yes.
the next, we don't even need to have any formula. We just add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. That is 40. Then 50 minus 40, we have 10. Tuko pamoja hadi hapo?
Yes.
So hivyo ndio tunaoa
Tuko pamoja.
Yeah.
Teacher, hebu
so-
rudia hiyo tafadhali. Sijashika.
So
Hapo imenipita.
I've said you list all the pieces that you are supposed to that you test, that you will be testing. If there are 10, you list all the pieces, and then you list all the weights as per the PC weighting tool. So utakuwa na all the weights and all the pieces that you intend to test. So cumulatively, you have the marks, the total marks that unatafuta, and you have also the total weights of all the pieces, in that you intend to assess. So for our case, the total marks that we want, because we know, is 50 marks for that particular cut. For example, let me call it cut, although we know is formative assessment. And this is for theory. Then we also know through mathematics, we can be able to convert. I don't want to use the complex bit of mathematics. Is called ratios. We can be able to convert the weights into marks, because cumulatively we know, like for our case, if we add all the weights for all the pieces that we are assessing under element 1, then we'll get it at 7. So 7 is what we equate now to 50 marks. Then we ask ourselves, what about if the PC has, like PC1, icona 1, the weight is 1. So it is 1 divided by 7 times, or basically it is 1, or the total weight for that PC, divided by the total weights for all the pieces that are going to be assessed. Then you multiply by the total marks for that particular assessment. So for the first case, we said it is 1 for PC1. The PC for the weight for PC1 is 1, divided by the total weight for all the pieces, which is 7. Then you multiply that by the total marks, which is 50. And we said you get that as 8 marks. It is definitely 7 point something, but we approximated that to the nearest even number, or whole number. We can even approximate it to back to 6, so that tusipee your 1 more marks than the pieces with the 2. But at least with that, we are able to balance the marks distribution as per the PC weighting tool. Any question?
Understood.
Okay, sawa. So that is the basis for getting marks, either for theory.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Victor.
How about where does the knowledge of ranking the PCs according to the what you had initially put it out about rank according to the intensity of the PC itself? Like for example, you're saying you are using about how to bake a cake. Sasa kuna ile task yenye iko na uzito
Sasa hiyo uzito ilishakuwa determined. Wacha nikueleze. Hiyo uzito ishakuwa determined when by the developers of the PC weighting tool. They considered all that, and that is why unaona some PCs ziko na ranking ya or the weighting yao ni kidogo na zingine iko juu.
So you start from already yenye iko ranked when you are given, but when you are not given, you start from ranking, right?
Yes, definitely at this level, as I have said, the PC weighting tools have already been developed. So the only what we are doing is interpreting this PC weighting tool and converting that to marks, the actual marks that are supposed to be in the assessment tools. So all that ranking of PCs based on complexity, based on so many other factors, has already been done under PC weighting tool. Ndio tukapata all these weights. Tuko pamoja sasa.
And teacher, how did you get 10, please?
How I got 10, nilifanya simple calculation because I said hapa tunatumia mathematics. So nikajua all these with 1 ziko na 8 for example for my case. And only moja natafuta yenye iko na 2. Na total marks ni 50. Si ni 8 times 5 which is 40 and 50 minus 40 is 10. Although I know you can do it mathematically, nipate ni 2 divided by 7 times 50. Si ni kweli? Which is around 14. That is why I said because of the approximation yenye tumefanya is coming to about 10. So if we tukiipatia yenye tulikuwa tumepata the actual marks 7, this one is 7, this one is 7, without the approximation, this one is 7, 10, hii itakuwa around 14. So is 7 times 5, which is 35. Then 50 minus 35, which is around 15, which is basically mathematically the same thing. Tuko pamoja?
Yeah.
Aya, sawa sawa. So all that was on the conversion to help us understand how we convert weights to marks. Yes, Faith?
Kuna venye una katika like the whole time yani napata very little something and my network is like okay.
So na katika unajua naweza ambiwa na wengine
Like me, like nilikuwa na kusikia at the beginning of the class for about 45 minutes. Then from like since upotee urudi, you just keep on breaking.
So is that the
I
case
don't know if
for
it's just a concern for me or for others here. Is
So
it my
it
network? Okay, I'm
depends.
so sorry.
It depends. Sometimes the network misbehaves. Na unajibu. Hata saa hii wewe tunakusikia unakatika. Kama mimi nakusikia unakatika.
Sa hivyo ndo pia nasikia ukikatikata. But it's okay.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, thank you.
I hope you'll be able to follow it up. So
Yeah,
any other
sure.
question?
So Mwalimu, I can see
Yes.
The PC weighting is awarded marks according to the weight of the question.
Unajua hiyo swali yako ni ngumu. The PC weighting is awarded marks. First of all, we don't have marks in the PC weighting tool. Those are weights.
Nimeona umeandika PC weights alafu ukaandika 1 1 1 hivyo zikakuja mpaka 7.
Yes, those are weights. Hizi nimezipick from the PC weighting tool under theory.
Yes, sasa vile tumepata ni 7. Tukaanza kufanya certain calculation, tumecalculate tukiallocate marks for each PC.
Yes.
Yeah. So ndio nilikuwa nauliza kuna ile maswali yenye iko na uzito kidogo yenye itakuwa na variation ya marks allocation ama itakuwa tu standardized?
Of course kutakuwa na we will get there, but of course as E marks ina represent that PC. So in that PC there can be several let me call them several questions. So kama PC1 you require 7 marks, for example. So you can decide PC1 probably is talking about, I'm not an expert in this unit, but is talking about client consultation is carried out. So there are those, there is that content under client consultation. So you can decide, hapo utakuwa na maswali mbili. So itakuwa na ya kwanza, maybe itakuwa section A, you ask somebody to explain or define a certain concept, and you give maybe 2 marks. Then the other one, itakuwa under section B, or itakuwa maybe probably under section A bado, but the question will be a bit high order. So they will be either explaining, they will be either describing, and so on. So you give marks, unaweza peana definition maybe ikuwe 1 mark, and then the rest ikuwe ni they explain maybe 3 items, and each item will carry 2 marks. So in total they will have 6 marks. So cumulatively hiyo PC inafaa kutoa 7 marks in that particular assessment. Whether they will be question moja itakuwa section number 1 in section A, ama itakuwa number 2, ama itakuwa number 5, or whichever. Tuko sawa? Up to there. You sasa ni introduce the table of specification.
Yes, I have a
Yes.
question.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So about the numbering of the PCs, the way we number the PCs. Yeah, I think the way PCs have been numbered is maybe 1.1, maybe 1.2, maybe 2.1, 2.3, that way. So the second thing
okay.
is that yeah, now the second thing is that when I'm setting the theory cut, I may decide that maybe PC 1.1, maybe 1.3. So it's not a must that I set a theory cut in all PCs. Maybe there are some of the PCs I'll use it to set for practical assessment cut.
You see the challenge with that, eh? The challenge with that.
Yes.
It is not upon you. It is not upon you to decide on which particular PCs to test or not. At the end of the day, all PCs should be assessed. So you cannot say, as you can see from the PC weighting tool, we have a column for theory and another column for practical. So at the end of that particular unit of competency, mwanafunzi akifanya both the formative and the summative assessments, lazima tujiulize, we have another table which is done, we may not do this in this particular unit. We want to analyze how these PCs were assessed, were all the critical PCs assessed, what is the percentage? So I semi, you can decide in Cat 1, which is theory, you are testing only the theory bits. But that doesn't mean that you not test the practical bit. Maybe practical bit will be tested under another assessment, which can be the summative, it can be the end of term, or it can be when they go for practical activities. Yes, Josephine.
Yes, Mwalimu. Thank you. Thank you, Mwalimu.
Mwalimu, I will just want to ask this. You said that na set theory na hiyo venye umetuonyesha hapo. Now when it comes to the modular curriculum, for the core unit we are supposed to have 3 written assessment and 3 practical assessment. So for me, I was just requesting that you show us to do the both ways, because during our attachment, we will be dealing with the modularized curriculum and the modular classes. So we expected to do the practical bit of it.
You see, the challenge, we have quite a number of challenges, because we have different qualification awarding institutions, or qualification, basically qualification and awarding institutions, and these qualification awarding institutions have different formats. So if you go to TVET CDAC, which is a QAI, TVET CDAC has their format of assessment. If you go to these other institutions that are supposed to administer their own assessments, like the National Polytechnics, they also have their own way of doing things. You discover some somehow they deviate from what TVET CDAC, even though they might look similar. So if you come back also to Kenya School of TVET, which is also a QAI, they have their own format of doing things. So sometimes you may not know where you end up in. So if you talk about the aspect of modularized curriculum, as I have said, let me call what I have done as formative assessment 1. So I'll prepare a table of specification for that particular assessment. Maybe in a particular term, I'm required to administer 3 theory formative assessments for that particular unit of competency. So each and every assessment will have its own table of specification. Hiyo tukubaliane. Tuko pamoja hadi hapo? So it's not one. The PC weighting tool is one. But the table of specification for theory, because the table of specification is only prepared for theory assessment, it depends with the number of assessments in that particular unit of competency. So kama uko na to say formative assessment 1, kama vile naona zingine zinafanywa every month. So if you have 3 months, you'll have 3 theory assessments and maybe probably 3 practical assessments. So you'll have 3 table of specifications. Is that okay now?
Yes.
Sawa sawa. Na bado, let me introduce now, with that theory, I can now introduce the table of specification, the table of specification. So, as we know, a table of specification is a blueprint for assessment that shows how test items and the marks are distributed across content areas and the cognitive levels, depending on the various levels as per the Bloom's taxonomy. So the components of the new and the revised table of specification. Remember, we have another table of specification for those who will still be training the old curriculum, the NEC and the other old curriculums. And then we have the revised table of specification. This is for specifically for CPET. So we have the elements, performance criteria, the cognitive levels, the weights, the item number, the total number of items, the marks, and the total marks. And to do that, because I don't want to go through the theoretical bit, to do that, maybe I can demonstrate. Do I have that template? This table of specification. It has all these items. As we have said, we have the element, we have the performance criteria, we have the knowledge level, we have the weight of the item, we have the item number, we have the number of items, we have the marks allocation, and we have the total marks. So let's say, for example, from my, let me use a different example. From my PC weighting tool or my PC weighting tool, this is what I was able to generate. Don't worry about these aspects. Just focus on the column for theory and the column for practical. So under element 1, for the unit of competency that I have, these are the PCs, iko na PCs 3, and these are the total marks or the total weights, sorry, for those 3 PCs. And I want to test my assessment ikuwe na 30 marks. Theory only for 30 marks. So what I'll do, I'll come and pick whatever is in element 1 and the pieces under element 1. So I come back to my template. So I'll have element 1. Ninaweza iandika hapo the first element. If I look at my OS, maybe the first element was control environmental hazards. That is what I will include. Then I come and copy the 3 PCs under element 1. This is what I copy here under performance criteria. Then I have said the total marks that I require is 30 marks. So that all that you are just ni copy and paste whatever you require and just call it 30. It was share like that. So and then I come to PC1. So based on my table of specification, if I go back to my table of specification under PC1, I had given the total weight for theory is 2.4, 1.2, and 2.1. So I come and populate here 2.4, 1.2, and the other one was 2.1. So I know the total weight of these items is 5.7, for example. So hapa naweza kuja niweke 5.7 as the total weight, 5.7 for the total weight of the pieces that I'm going to test in this formative assessment test. So for each PC, nakuja naangalia hii PC. And because me, I have the other table that was used to develop this particular PC weighting tool for that particular unit of competency, I can be able to note the knowledge level for each PC. So for example, under PC1, I know the knowledge level was 2. So that means it is inakuja kwa evaluate, inakuja kwa apply and analyze. Either apply or analyze. PC2, which is 1.2, iko kwa 1, so that means is remember and understand. And PC3 is under 3. If you don't have that table, you go back to your PC weighting tool and you look at the PCs and identify the verb that is being used. So for example, PPs are identified. This one, they have used 2 verbs, which is not supposed to be. So we stick with identified. Ama we stick with used. So depending on the verb that is used there, you ask yourself, hii verb iko in which level under Bloom's taxonomy? So if it is under remember and understand, you just provide, you can provide a mark. It can be a tick or it can be an X. For now, let me use an X. So we know this PC1 equal under, as per the knowledge level, equal under remember and understand. Or it is under remembering. So remember and understand ziko unatik hapo. Unaenda kwa PC2, probably iko based on the verb that is used, stored. You can be able to equate that to that verb as to the level as per the Bloom's taxonomy. So for example, you say that one is under apply and analyze. So you unaeka mark hapo. Then this is for demonstration purposes because I want to vary my PCs. PC3 unaweza pata the verb used is under evaluate and create, for example. So we have the different PCs and the different knowledge level.
Mwalimu ameenda wapi?
Amepotea.
Na bado
Stima ya
anarudi.
Bungoma.
Yes,
patient anaitika
somebody
simu.
had, I was sorting out something. So with this, you are able to see EPC iko under remembering. So definitely, it is not possible to ask a question and apply that is on application, analyzing, evaluation, and creating. But if this PC is touching on is more of creating, and creating is application, then you can even ask a question that involves the lower levels, like remember, like state lists, as you move up. So EPC inaweza hata kuwa na question ina touch on remembering, inaweza kuwa na question ina touch on application and analyzing, na inaweza kuwa na another question that is touching on evaluation and creating. That is just to guide you on that. Then we do the conversion as we have done in the previous example. 5.7, so that we can get the total marks per PC. So 5.7 is equals to 30. What about 2.4? So 2.4 divided by 5.7 times 30. So that is 12 marks, just as we have done in the previous example. Then 1.2 divided by 5.7 times 30, which is about 6. Then from there, you can even do the manual conversion, 12 plus 6, then minus 30, which is also 12. I hope that you are in a challenge because we have done it before to get the total marks based on the weights. Ama kuna mtu bado ako na challenge? Ni sawa. So these other items, the item number, the number of items, the marks allocation, this one will depend on the format of your assessment tool. So as an example, we can assume that this particular cut will have 3 questions. So itakuwa na question 1, question 2, and question 3. So in question 1, maybe I'll have 1A and 1B. In question 2, I'll have just 2A. We can have just 2, question 2. In question 3, I can have 3A and 3B and 3C, for example, just as an example. So in this particular item, maybe as we have said, based on the format of your assessment tool, I'll have question 1A and I'll have question 1B. So in this one, I'll have only question 2. And in the third PC, I'll have 3A, 3B, and 3C. You can even interchange in some cases. You can have PC1 ikiwa na 1A and 3A, for example. Doesn't necessarily have to follow this, although we encourage, if you're asking questions covering a certain concept, don't mix in one question. Ati moja inauliza mambo ya PPs, the ingine inauliza something else, and they are in the same question, maybe question 1. So this is the format of our assessment tool. Then we come and ask ourselves, based on this format, question 1A and question 1B are coming from PC1. So PC1, the total marks that we require in this particular, the total, this one is not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be in the other column. Sorry, it's supposed to be here. Like that. So the item number is supposed to be the other way around. So this one, the number of items for that particular PC is 2. This one and this one. The number of items for this PC is 1. The number of items for this PC is 1, 2, 3, like that. Tuko pamoja hadi hapo?
Yes, sir.
Fade. Ama uko sawa? Ama ulikuwa unaweka thumbs up? Okay, sawa. Then, it's upon you now. Here there is no formula. It's upon you now as an expert in that particular area to determine how much you are going to give in each and every item in terms of marks. Lakini at the end of the day, they must tally to 12 marks in a particular PC. So I can decide question number 1A, because I want to, my assessment tool in answer a lower level, I'll ask something and I can see my PC is under lower level, remembering and understanding. So I can ask them to list something, list 2 items. So I'll give 2 marks. Then question 1B, I ask them something to, or I can give them like 4 marks. Then question 1B is I can tell them to explain something. Then maybe explain 3 items or 4 items. So depending on the items, because I need 8 marks, I'll tell them to explain maybe 4 items and something like that. So question 2, I require 3. I can task them to also explain something like 3 items. So I just copy the marks as they are, because hapa hatuta distribute E6 marks. Then in 3A, you can see it's under evaluate and create. I can decide to ask just because I have 3 items under that PC, I can decide nitauliza swali moja ya 2 marks under 3A, it will be under lower level. Then nikuje niulize niwaambie wa explain something which should be about 4 marks. Then I'm remaining with around 6 marks. Then I can task them to do some analysis, maybe describe, maybe to create something, to design something, depending on the unit of competency, and I give 6 marks. So cumulatively, hata hapa itakuwa ni 30 marks. Tuko sawa hadi hapo? Yes, Victor.
Sasa mwalimu, mimi niko swali hapa kwa knowledge level now that hii tumeranki actually tume classify hizi the performance criteria 1, 2 and 3 into these either remember, understand, apply and whatever. Now my question comes, because you are dealing with say I'm an expert in my area that is mechanical. Also in another institution there is another expert who thinks or who knows that certain performance criteria lies in between lies in apply and analyze. But me in my institution, why I know that same PC lies in evaluate and create. But now that brings about discrepancies, and it will bring it will alter the overall mark and the way we assess the same PC in different institutions. Where can we minimize the discrepancy? Realize I am the same.
You see the challenge is
yes,
definitely if you have even two trainers within the same institution, and they are tasked to come up with assessment tools for a given unit of competency, definitely you will not expect them to come up with the same questions. You discover huyu ameuliza hii low level kwa hii PC, but kwa hii PC ingine ameuliza kwa higher level, which is different from what probably mwingine atafanya, which is different. But at the end of the day, we ask ourselves where our assessment tools, did they actually collect enough evidence to ascertain that this particular person actually understood, if you are talking about the theoretical aspects of that particular unit of competency. Then if we go to practical aspects, we ask ourselves the same kind of questions. But definitely they will deviate. If you are setting an assessment tool, even within the same institution, and you have two different trainers doing it independently, then you'll have this particular deviation, even though the calculation for marks, depending on the number of items to be tested, should actually tally and be the same.
Now, how can we cap the discrepancies? Because at the end of the day, we want to come up with, we want to actually ascertain a student is competent.
You see, at the end of the day, even though we are saying as an expert, you are supposed to interpret and give the assessment items depending on your expertise, definitely at the back of your mind, you know there are some pieces that are simple, there are some pieces that are complex, there are some pieces that, depending on the curriculum, you know the content for that PC is quite wide. So it's upon you as an expert. And as I said, there is no formula for that. It is upon you as an expert to be able to come up with an assessment tool. And that is why we are preparing all these tools from the OS, how we have interpreted the assessment requirements, guidelines, because hiyo ndio ita guide. If for example, if I can go back to the assessment requirement tool, this is maybe for a different unit, and I hope you can see. So this is the knowledge evidence that is required for a particular element. So this is probably from electrical. It is identify cables and accessories. So under identify cables and accessories, what knowledge evidence do we require? So in this PC, maybe PC 1.1, we want this particular candidate aweze kujua the OSHA standards and the EHS safety standards. So even when you are setting that particular written paper, at the back of your mind, you are still going back to the assessment requirement document. And unaangalia what evidence is required for that particular PC under the assessment requirement document. So as you are setting as an expert, you are not just doing it out of nowhere. So now, Lisa, the kind of question that you ask, of course, they will be determined by you, depending on the number of marks that you require for that question, but the evidence collected must capture the aspect of OSHA and the aspect of EHS standard theoretically for that particular student. I hope that caters for that deviation.
At least it was some extent.
Okay, sawa. But but bado uko 50-50. We keep on improving these tools.
I'm thinking pia mwalimu, conscience ya mwalimu at some point ita kick in, and at some point to some extent ita win. Because I'll be like, if this same, I'll be thinking, this same PC is quite it carries some intensity. But then another colleague will say, this same PC will have some less intensity. So I'll give it some less marks. But then to my side, I know.
Then you also know, like for example, what you are doing. For example, what you are doing is for continuous assessment. Doesn't mean that they will not be assessed again in the same PC. So probably we'll have other continuous assessments. Maybe like somebody has alluded, we can have like 3. And then at the end of the day, there will be the summative assessment, maybe covering also on the same aspect. So cumulatively, at the end of that particular unit of competency, atakuwa ameassessiwa in everything in regards to that particular PC.
Sawa.
Okay, sawa. Any question on the table of specification. Any other question on the table of specification? Tumeishika.
Iko sawa mwalimu.
Or iko sawa because for example like my class, you are supposed to develop this table of specification as part of your assignment for 50 marks from the PC weighting tool that you yenye utachukua. So I hope that is understood. Yes, we'll Rose.
Okay, can you do it with another one? Because the more people were asking questions, the more I was more confused. Because you
Like
are
which
going
one?
back and forth at everything. Because the more they were asking, the more I was more confused. If you can do it with another sample. Because
So
to be
if
sincere, nimefloat.
So if I pick, I want to pick a unit of competency yenye haiko hapa. Kuna watu wa agriculture hapa? Hakuna. Let's see, let's pick, for example, aquaculture operator, and we pick the first, maybe let me pick the second element because ndio iko na very few pieces, and I'm focusing on the theory. So under this, we have the first element, and maybe we assume the same conditions. We are setting a formative assessment test one, na formative assessment test yetu itakuwa na 30 marks. We maintain the same format and so on. So I have four PCs. So I'll come here, maybe probably delete all these, delete all the total marks, then come here, probably add another column below, and I call it PC 4, for example. So under weights, if I extend that, so under PC 1.1, we have the weight being let me copy them first, being 4, 5, 8, and 3. So that niongeze hii. So these are the different weights that we have. Yes, and we want 30 marks like before. So to get the total marks for each and every PC, tumesema tunaongeza these weights. We have 4 plus 5 plus 8 plus 3, which is
20.
Yes, 20, which is 20. So nakuja naandika 20 hapo. So 20, I equate that to 30. And for each PC, tuanze na PC1, which will be 4 divided by 20 times 30, which is
6.
6. The second one, the second one,
7.5.
so you can say 8.
5 or 8. You can say
The
8.
third one,
8 times 20 divided by 30.
hapana.
12.
8 divided by 20 times 30.
12.
We have 12, and because we have done some approximation here, tukitumia formula italeta more than 30. So the best way is to add 12 plus 8 plus 6, then minus 30, which is 4.
4.
So these are the total marks for each and every PC to give us a total of 30 marks for that particular assessment. Then we have said if we maintain the same format, we have this one equal na 1A, na 1B. This one can have 2A and 2B. This one can have 3A. We for this one, let's use A and B, 3A and 3B. And then for this one,
3C.
what I maintain 3B too. We can use different formats. We can have this one as even depending on the marks, we can have this one as 4. As 4. So the item numbers, we just said you count per PC. This one is 2, 2, 2, and this one is 1. The marks allocation, we can just do it at random. You can have 2, maybe the first question. But because we want these to be guided by the knowledge levels, we can still go back to the PC. PC yetu ilikuwa wapi?
Ya
agriculture. Kwa wapi hiyo PC ya agriculture? This one, So tunajiuliza, pond water diversion channel is trenched following whatever. So it's upon you to decide hiyo PC iko which level. So for learning purposes, mambo ya trenching na nini iko under create and evaluate. Mambo ya installation of screening devices, I know it can be under apply and analyze, or it can be under evaluate. I'm not quite sure, but let's, for learning purposes, variate these knowledge levels. Then PC3, if you look at the verb used, the same installed, so we can maintain equal under the same, and then PC4. PC4 is talking about construction of drainage channels. Then that one I think is more of create and evaluate, like that. So, but for learning, let us tuiweke under remembering, so that we have different variation, but we know based on that PC iko hapa for evaluate and create. So based on that, then you can now have your marks allocation, definitely question 1, as we know, even when we are coming up with questions, you start from the simplest to as you move to the complex. Usianze maswali mwanafunzi anaona question 1 ndio ngumu, atashtuka, hataweza kufanya anything. Aanze tu from the simplest, ndio anaanza kukumbuka some concepts. So definitely question 1A maybe itakuwa mambo na definition ama to list ama to do what. Then 1B you can adjust that to maybe they create something or they evaluate something depending on the context. You give 4 marks. Total is supposed to be 6. The same case, you can give 2 marks. Then the next one, they apply that you can give 6 marks. Then the third one, you can give, because is about applying and analyze, doesn't necessarily mean that you start from, you give a question on the low levels. You can decide to give 2 questions, maybe on I explain zote mbili, different aspects of that particular PC in regards to the content in that PC. And then this one is 1 question, so we'll have the full 4 marks. Cumulatively, you are still supposed to have the 30 marks, like that. So hiyo iko sawa. Kadulenge, Kevin. Naona
Yes, it's okay.
mkono iko juu. Kadulenge. So I think we are now okay with developing a table of specification based on the 3 examples. Actually, I have given like 3 examples now on how to do it. Tuko sawa hadi hapo?
Mwalimu, can I have a
Yes, sir.
Can you have
a look at that table? Nichukue
unataka kuchukua picha. Sasa utaenda ujiulize hii 4 inatoka wapi na ujui inatoka wapi. But ni sawa. The template I'll share, don't worry. Sharon Chepkosgei.
Okay, Mwalimu, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I'm in a class of HM for the assignment that you had given us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which module will we work with under the modularized curriculum?
Ni wewe uta decide.
Even the module 1?
Mm.
Na sasa siko na hiyo oral ama
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Mm. Sasa ukienda kwa shule ingine, hiyo module 1 hawana oro, wako na written. What will you do?
I'll just work with that.
Yes, for now, just work with that.
Okay, to deal now many elements.
So, 2 elements.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We will have to adapt.
You'll have to adapt. Unajua sasa learning inafaa kukufungua your ability to adapt to different scenarios, because I know you are mumekuwa nini na SIDAC sana, but you can go to some other places, you find they are doing things in a different way, even though we are supposed to follow the same standards. Even if you look at it from a different perspective, your oral questioning Is it not theoretical assessment?
Yeah, that is what I was to ask, but I think it is the same as the
Ni vile tu
written
namuuliza
assessment.
yeah, ni vile tu hauna separate written assessment, unataka kumuuliza hizo oral questions as they are doing the practical test. So it's just the same. So
I have a question, Mwalimu. For example, now again, there is sometimes that you want to give a project. Maybe you tell students to do a certain project. How can you prepare the table of specification? Maybe that project covers a lot of PCs, maybe many PCs. Yeah, how can you go about?
But the project is more practical. We agree.
Yeah, it's a.
So
Yeah.
na hatujafika kwa practical.
Okay, fine.
We are focusing first of all with theory, and then we move now to the practical bit of it. So maybe I can finish with the theoretical bit. So we have our table of specification. The next item is now to prepare the assessment tool for theory. And as you know, we have the candidates tool and we have the assessors tool. So depending on the guidelines that you have been given, you can prepare your test items based on your table of specification from the 3 or the 2 categories of theoretical test items, the objective test items, zile tulisoma. You have the multiple choice, the question, the true false, the matching, and the completion. Or you can decide to use the essay items, the different essay items from the short essay items to the extended essay items that use the high order verbs. So that one will also depend with the level, because there are some levels that doesn't allow some, especially when you're talking about objective test items, like in the former guidelines, the CDAC, level 5 and level 6, they had eliminated that aspect of objective test items, and they were focusing on section A having the short essay questions and section B having the extended essay questions. In other QAIs, you might find they are also using the objective test items in level 6 and above. So it depends with the qualification awarding institution, and that is acceptable even with the standards. So when you are preparing the test, the assessment tool for theory, you'll have the candidate tool for theory, and you have the written guide, that is the marking scheme. And in the first session of that you came in December, we were able to look at a theory paper and a written, maybe a written guide or a marking scheme. So if I can show just an example, I don't know whether I have one. Maybe I can check this. So a written paper is just similar to this, although it is guided by your table of specification. So maybe for mine, I have like 4 questions, and each question, maybe I have section A, maybe I have section B, depending on the format that I is as per my institution or the format that I want. For a continuous assessment test or for formative, maybe you hainanga compulsory items, you na haina sections, maybe you have a full paper with all the questions. And I have a combination of both the short essay questions and the extended essay questions. So for a marking scheme, we said if this is the question, the marking scheme should have all the possible answers. If I was asking something, this question was asking about personal protective clothing, list 4. So I provide all the possible responses, and then naongeza hii remark maybe to whoever will be assessing that particular paper is to award 1 mark for each correct answer. The total number of marks they are supposed to be 4, such that isikuwe mwanafunzi ameandika 6, then you give 1 mark for all the questions, for all the responses, and then you go beyond the marks that were awarded for that particular question. Then the second one, the third one, and all that is supposed to be there so that you can give guidance to whoever is coming up with the questions. So the format differs. You definitely have the admin details. Then the instructions to the candidates are supposed to also be included. And then we have the test items as we went through in the previous class, the physical class that we had in during the physical sessions in December. So tuendelee ama munataka kukula?